expectations are sky high after Baker Mayfield's terrific rookie year, even higher after Odell Beckham Jr. was added to the mix this offseason. But hype will only take you so far. Now they've got to actually go play a few games to see how it all comes together off paper. So how's that chemistry working between Baker and Odell? We'll let the quarterback tell you.
It's coming along great, you know, as expected. Once you verbalize what we need to accomplish, then you get out there and I'm able to kind of put it anywhere with him, so it's coming along great. I think there's an appreciation from my end that, you know, he's able to come communicate and talk through things, and it's just having that open relationship. Obviously, there's a chain of command. What Freddie says goes, but just being able to talk through things and see it from their perspective or mine is really good.
CC, for the most part, these two just started working together. Odell wasn't there. I don't think Jarvis was there either, but Odell wasn't there during OTAs and minicamp. So what is that learning curve like? What is the timing when you talk about chemistry with a wide receiver?
All right, and just like you and I talked this morning, because he wasn't there, people didn't make a big deal about it, but it slows down the communication. I mean, because Odell's getting a new playbook, even though he's familiar with the wide receiver coach, familiar with Jarvis. They're doing different things in Cleveland. Baker, his ball you have to adjust to. I worked out with Eli Manning. I worked out with Eli Manning and Peyton Manning down at their passing camp. My son was in the passing camp. I had just retired. I was still in great shape, and they were going through an NFL workout. They had a bunch of quarterbacks down there throwing. They needed some wide receivers. So I know Eli. I know the kind of ball he throws. And Eli, surprisingly, has a stronger arm than people give him credit for. He has a stronger arm than Peyton. But he does not have the arm that Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is an exceptional thrower of the football. Long, short. Before the game I did last year with him, I went on the field, caught passes with him because I wanted to see, I wanted to feel it. He throws a tight spiral. That's why I thought he could be successful, even though he's not the prototype height in Cleveland with that bad weather. He has a big enough hand. He's got a great grip on the ball, but man, he can flat out just throw it. And when you're not there for the mini camps, now all the practice become really important. Some of those things we could have worked out in April and May, we have to force to work them out now in July because we weren't there. And this will build. They will get to the game and get some game experience, and the relationship will build. Once they get to the playoffs and the intensity, primetime games, then it will build. This is not a finished product. This is going to take years and years and years to be able to get the type of chemistry that we've seen with some of the people like A.B., Ben Roethlisberger, Julio and Matty Ice. It takes time. Michael Thomas and Drew Brees. It takes time, but they're off to a great start. When you have talent, which they do, throwing talent and wide receiver talent. One thing that Baker said that I thought was phenomenal, and they have unbelievable talent at Oklahoma when he was there. Offensive line ranked the best offensive line, and he's got a bunch of skilled guys that will be sprinkled around the NFL. OBJ does things I'd never seen before. And when you have that in a wide receiver, as a quarterback, you start making compromises like, oh, okay, I don't have to be perfect. So your confidence goes up because you see the talent, not only his catching ability, his route running, and his ability to escape from the top of the route and expand and get away from people. That's one of the things that makes OBJ special.
Well, that also should definitely not shortcut, but ease this transition, because Baker is the most talented at the moment thrower of the football Odell's ever played with, high school, college, pro. And Odell is obviously the most talented receiver Baker's ever played with, high school, college, pro. And so in that regard, there is an element of, okay, our communication's not flawless, right, and our timing and our chemistry is not yet where we want it to be.
Okay.
But we are both having the luxury of playing with the best guy we've ever played with. But there is an element, when you talked about Eli's got a stronger arm than people give him credit for, but not the arm Baker has. I remember last year when they were switching from Tyrod, who, whatever you think of Tyrod, he obviously doesn't have the strongest arm in the league, to Baker, and what Jarvis said. And Jarvis talked about in practice, the ball catching up to him, getting up on him quicker than he thought, having to adjust it. For Odell, what are the things he can do to adjust to the velocity of the ball, the way the ball looks, reading the football coming out of Baker's hands?
All you can do is just get the reps. until you see it, until you see the ball traveling, until you actually live it out, you're not going to appreciate the type of speed. But it's a matter of getting the reps and after practice, getting on the same page. It's having a handful of routes after practice. We're going to throw those. One thing, too, that neither one of them has dealt with, OBJ has never had a quarterback as outspoken as Baker. So when he decides to go on and have one of his Baker's going to say something to him. How they react to that becomes very important. And Baker has never had a wide receiver who acts the way that Odell acts. So there's going to be some learning there, because there's a difference of when we have a meeting and I say, oh, that route sucked compared to we get in the game, you're in Pittsburgh, and you run a bad route, and he's like, that route sucks. Because the intensity to it, we have to allow this to play out. Game experience is the only thing that will get them ready. You can only do so much in practice, but the time that they missed, it slows down their learning curve.
I think it's so important. We always talk chemistry. We talk on-the-field chemistry and timing and routes and all of it. But I think getting to know each other's personality is also a big part of making things work.
Yeah, like you realize Nick's a jerk now, so it doesn't get you up there.
So I'm like one step ahead of other people who don't
it's
realize
like another
it.
day.
Yeah, I'm a bad guy.
Love you,
That's
Nick.
the story on
Coming up, is it starting to look like Ezekiel Elliott won't play a game for the Cowboys this season? Talking about that on First Things First.
The players on